pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. On your consent agenda, you have approval of the July 14, 2020 regular meeting, approval of the July 14, 2020 work session minutes, approval of contingency funds expenditure in the amount of $11,742 for a police vehicle replacement, approval for the mayor to enter into the CARES Act, what's that called specifically? The one that we talked about earlier.
Coronavirus relief fund.
Coronavirus Relief Fund, and then the Georgia Power Vegetative Services Agreement in the amount of $9,920. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Do we need to add?
Sure, the retreat. She'll do the retreat. We'll bring it back.
Yeah, we don't have enough information.
We're not, it's a concept. Once we know exactly who the retreat people are gonna be, we'll have a price to go with that. We'll have a retreat, don't we?
Everybody heard it, okay?
Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye. Well,
Aye.
Ms. Dorothy?
Aye.
Ms. Renee?
Aye.
Ms. Van?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Meeting agenda, approval of July 28, 2020 meeting agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'm making a motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ms. Dorothy?
Aye.
Ms. Renee?
Aye.
Ms. Van?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Approval of staff recommendation for Skipley for mobile app development and authorized to execute any necessary documents and agreements. This is the mobile application section. I did find it. It's right up here if anybody has an interest in it. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Hear a motion in a second. All those in favor say aye. Mr. Clark?
Aye.
Ms. Dorothy?
Aye.
Ms. Renee?
Aye.
Ms. Van?
She said aye.
Okay. Motion carries unanimously.
So
Or-
I would like to, if I might, Mayor,
Go ahead.
interject. Staff recommendation, if I recall correctly, was primarily because of the way that we can kind of a la carte and pick and choose services.
No, that was the marketing, thing. The staff recommendation for Skipley is because he was by far the cheapest and the only, company in Georgia.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
I've got it right here.
Okay, it's on. I prefer her summary.
Ordinance is a resolution, first reading of an ordinance 2020-06 to allow additional work session minute times, which would allow the city council to start its work session at 5:30 on the fourth Tuesday, including the first Tuesday at its options. And that is a first reading. Any discussions? We've
Yes.
already had some.
Yes. So, having this entered into the ordinance to have both meeting dates starting, work session starting 5:30.
It's not starting at 5, it's an option to start at 5. We would still start traditionally at 6:30, but we've always had the ability to start at 5:30 if we chose to on the first meeting. We do not have by ordinance that ability on the second meeting. It doesn't mean that you will use it, it just means you have the option.
Have the option. Option, right.
How far in advance would we be notified regarding a change in time? You know, my concern that I addressed in the email, you know, my own personal situation, but I'm thinking whether it's in the future or even for residents. Just having the ability to make sure that those who work a traditional job, 9 to 5, 8 to 5, have the ability to be prepared for the meeting at 5:30. I do want to know what kind of notice that we'll have, if the need for a 5:30 start time for a meeting is determined. And back to my comment before about the work session, just the life that we're living in the work session now. I feel like we need to be a little bit more pointed with the time. We've had hours-long work sessions more recently, and whether or not they're productive, it's kind of questionable. So I just want us to be clear on how we proceed and how we effectively use our time when we're talking about work sessions, giving us more time to rehash some of the same information with no action items sometimes. I just want us to make sure that as a council, we have the opportunity to have real discussions, and then we also have the opportunity to be prepared for the discussions. So what kind of advance notice are we talking about for a 5:30 start if it's determined that you want to do that?
Well, the first one would be, you got state law requirements, right, Ms. Reddick? If you're making a change, was it 24, 48 hours?
It's 48.
Well, it's 48 hours, but I would imagine that unless it's a last minute decision, it's gonna come when you get the packet. You'll know the meeting time. I mean, do you foresee, now there may be a consideration like between the packet and the council meeting day, if the mayor wanted to call it earlier, he would have to give you all a 48-hour notice, but do you foresee it going out when the packet goes out, right? Or do you not?
I mean, for the most part, if you just follow what we've done so far, I mean, usually by the time we leave this meeting, we know the next meeting is gonna be held at 5:30, correct? Isn't that pretty close? We haven't shocked anybody, or at least not.
Oh, you mean you might even be talking about it at the previous council meeting? to let
That's
you-
correct.
yeah.
So in other words, if we know we just have a basket list of items to talk about, it's just gonna last forever. We have several choices. We can run until 1 o'clock in the morning if we choose. But we can sit here and say, let's meet early the next time so that we've got a little bit more time on the clock to make that happen.
So if we're saying that we're going to be intentional about speaking about a start time for the following council meeting, that's 2 weeks. That's a good time frame to be prepared for. And I do understand that there are some reasons why we have, emergency special call meetings, you do what you need to do. But for this to be a habit, I would want to have enough advance notice to be prepared with time.
And I'll be fair about this. In the event it becomes a challenge, then we're just gonna run later. There's no restriction on how late you run. The idea is to try to accommodate the different players, and Dorothy has mentioned several times, 9:30 seems to be an adequate time. For those that have been around before, we've ran them till 1 o'clock in the morning, So you still have to accomplish what you want to accomplish. This is where you're going on one hand. If we can meet a little earlier and everybody can agree to that, let's do it. If we don't have that, then we'll just run until whenever.
Benefit of Saturday retreats?
Holding meetings on a Saturday, just to have conversations when you already have your citizens invited and basically set the second and fourth Tuesday to forever. To me, let's conduct our business and let's get it done.
I'm totally in agreement with Councilwoman Knight about using our time wisely. If there's a way that we can minimize some of the.
Fair, and I'll give you that, but let's also have the other part of the discussion. If the material is available and we choose not to read it, that's your choice. You can read it while you're sitting there, if that's what you want. Then the discussion, leads to a vote at some point. Okay? But your timing, you can't say transparency, which I've heard before, right? If I'm putting it on the agenda for the first time, and nobody's talked about it before, it's not transparency, it's on the agenda, that's called transparent. We're writing it, we're telling everybody here what we're doing. We have to have some type of discussion, and you can call it rolling if you want to, but whether it's, you know, power poles that have been hit or otherwise, until it's actually accomplished, it doesn't come off the agenda, because we haven't finished it, okay? And some of these things in the world of government don't get finished all at one time. It's just not possible, you know? So the idea is give you as much information as we can, right? Some people like it in a printed format. Some people like it in a digital format. Open for all that, not a problem. Any way you want the information, the idea is to facilitate you as much as possible. The city clerk is certainly capable of giving us almost anything at any time, right? So I look at it as we try to be more accommodating, right? Which now we're even on video. And it's hard to get much more accommodating than that. You can watch it at 3 o'clock this morning if that's what you want to do. Well, not this morning, tomorrow morning. So we're being more inclusive rather than less inclusive. The data is more available rather than less available, right? If we have questions, some of that, I mean, in fairness, you could look at it and say, how many questions are being basically passed around by the city council themselves in advance? If they're being passed around, you're not CCing them to me, which is okay, I don't care. But, you know, you gotta get your information one way.
Good point for retreat.
Well, your retreat only answers
Pass
what your,
information, you know.
what your frustrations are. It doesn't necessarily, when you have 5 or 6 people or more in staff, it doesn't make it necessarily more accommodating. And just being honest, you like your stuff in print. That's true.
I read emails.
I know, but you like your stuff more in print, okay?
But I do read
I
emails.
like mine in digital until I'm sitting right here in front of me. Then I have to have it in print because I make notes. Others tell me I'm antiquated, and Quaz told me that more than once. You know, that everything should be done on an iPad. Well, okay, you know, but however you need to receive your information, you know, and I'm not speaking for anybody, but if we're not utilizing what we do have available to us, i.e. a city clerk or others, you know, those are options. Okay? Nobody's making it hard for you. So all I'm saying is, you know, doing the best we can, and I think we are adjusting as we see it. And if you need more adjustment, let's try to figure out what they are. But do I think you can accomplish the city's business from 6:30 to 9:30 and have a formal council meeting in 2 time periods? Not gonna happen. No, it's just not. Right? And then that's gonna make it where you feel like you're not getting the information that's necessary. Because some things just have to be done. You know? And an example is the one that really needs to be signed today. It just has to be done. Now, you don't have to do it, I guess you could say. The argument is you lose the money. My point would be it has to be done. I'm not willing to lose it. But those are the discussions, and that's why you get a chance to vote. So,
Yeah, I think we're at the point where as a council, we've been functioning together for several months now, and we need to work on communication. I've spoken in previous council meetings about information being equitably shared. We need to make sure that the spirit of 4 members on a council and a mayor are receiving the information in a timely manner. Any discourse, phones ring both ways. I know I haven't called other council members recently, but I know I have called, and phones do ring both ways. Email addresses, they work as well. So I really think we need to, as a council, understand the importance of all members engaging in some level of conversation, whether it's email. Some have a closer rapport than others. Some have been referred to as the team. But there are 4 council members, and the information should be shared amongst all 4.
There's no further business on item number 4. Then we go to general comments from the city manager.
No, thank you. No.
Comments from the citizens.
Yes,
Hi, Mike. How you doing, sir?
Mayor, council, citizens, it's clear that you guys are divided as hell. You know, you can't even get your agendas together. It's time you start demonstrating some leadership, each and every one of you. This train, you need to come in here. You need to be in these meetings, you know, and you guys need to you may need a retreat. You got all this stuff on the agenda, but you're getting nothing accomplished. All you have to do is look at the municipalities around you and see what's going on in those municipalities. And look at Morrow. We're still talking about Old Town Morrow, trying to revamp it. Now we're talking about condemnation of condemning the daggone Morrow Center for $9,000 cam fee a month. Hell, we knew about that 13 years ago.
That's
And nothing's been done about it. We knew about the trash situation in Morrow 13, 14 years ago. And guess what? We got the same people here. Nothing's getting done. And it's sad. It's really sad. Only thing we talk about is picking up trash and fixing lights. When are we gonna get an economic development director? When are we gonna get some business partners in here? And we need to stop putting negative comments as elected officials on Facebook. We really do. It's sad.
Amen.
Any other comments?
Yes, I just wanted to,
It's my
oh,
turn.
oh. I'll say it after a little bit.
I don't know if this has been addressed by the city, but it's important to me to acknowledge that Lana LeBay, on her own time, walked this entire city for the census, and got many people to sign up for it. And I'm grateful. I think it was a wonderful thing for you to do. And not only that, she went back and registered. I'm getting emotional and I shouldn't. Getting people to understand the importance of registering to vote. This was on her own time and she wouldn't let anybody help her. When I couldn't walk with her and I offered to drive her, but she wouldn't allow me to do that. But I think the city owe her a great thank you for the things that she's done.
And now I want to say to the fire department, Captain Martin passed, and we had a wonderful flag ceremony, that I was just really touched that he had a good showing, and Dorothy and I were there, and of course the fire department, the police department. It was a very nice ceremony. So thank you, Chief.
Any other comments? All right, hearing none. City Council, Mr. Clark.
Nothing.
Ms. Dorn.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. I appreciate your, you being frank in your criticism. It's constructive criticism. We are 4 members of a council, a governing body with a mayor. We do need to demonstrate better leadership. We need to make sure that our time is used to be effective and efficient leaders for the city of Morrow. Whatever momentum was gained previously, we need to work towards maintaining and leveling up that momentum so that Morrow can be a great city. And I do appreciate your comments.
It's
Thank
for
you.
everybody.
I just,
City manager, everybody.
I just have to let you know that I appreciate the criticism. We need residents to make sure that we're held accountable for how we interact with one another, how we lead in the city. And once again, we, as a council, we do need to have a retreat so we can understand better the roles and responsibilities that we have based on our authority in the city. We are not micromanagers. We are not to oversee, overlook, and stand on the shoulders of City Hall staff. We are here to support so that the city can grow, so that the city can be the best that it can be. And we have people in place who work very hard to be a part of that momentum and that energy to make the Morrow a great place. So I appreciate the criticism. Please make sure that you reach out to me, let me know. If there's any follow-up, please let me know. But I just want to say that for myself. Thank you.
Ms. Train?
No comment.
I have one. I had the pleasure of meeting Congressman John Lewis many years ago in an unusual format. I mean, he obviously was much older than I was, and he was shopping for shoes. And the irony is there's a congressman sitting with his bodyguard, and you just happen to be over there trying on a pair of shoes, and lo and behold, you've got a legend right there in front of you. and you can't help but, say, hey, hello. And he was about as down to earth as you could get. And all he had as a comment was, make sure your shoes are comfortable because you're gonna do a lot of walking. And he didn't know me, I just knew him. So, a civil rights icon was lost. And if you look at, what he did over his lifespan, and you look at, them basically walking him back across the bridge in Alabama, what an irony, to basically be beaten by the first group and saluted by the second. So whether you agree with his politics or not, when it is all done and you're laid to rest, rest in peace, my friend.
Good comment. Perfect example to follow.
Meeting adjourned. Go into the work session.